Right, I'm live on both now. I'm going to end this. I'm back on my phone again. All right. Okay, if somebody could comment, please, that would be great. I really need the comments to start working. Tracy hands on. Right. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Daniela, if you could come on now, and it shows me that you're on, I can invite you onto the screen. And the comments ain't coming up. But if I can at least get Daniela on, we can talk. Hi, Anne. How you doing? Come on, Daniela. Anyway, whilst I'm waiting for Daniela, today we were going to talk, or hope to talk, about the evolution of mediumship. Because mediumship evolves all the time. Spirit are always bringing in new things to teach us, whether it be teachings of universal life, the natural law, or how to enhance our abilities with spirit so that we can do more. Okay? Daniela, are you on? Right, it's only coming up with Hazel. Hang on, folks. I'm getting a message. We need to see some comments now, folks. I really need Daniela to join us. It says 5 people are watching, but I'm only getting Hazel. Hang on. Hazel's commented, brilliant. So that means comments are working. Brilliant. Right, okay. Right, I'm waiting to see you, Dawn. Okay? All right. Sorry, Daniela. Okay. Yeah, use your mobile phone, Daniela. Okay, I'll see if I can invite you. I need to see that you're here, Daniela. Right. Right, Hazel's managed to comment, so I know comments are working. Right, brilliant. Right. Okay. And guess what? You're not coming up in the... Right, Daniela, if you could send me a request to join the broadcast, that would be great, because you're not coming up on my people to add. Okay? We have this trouble every time. Daniela. Right, yeah, I've seen it, Dawn. And you're still not coming up. Come on, Daniela. The one person I want to invite on here, I can't get on. Right, what's that? Morning, Leslie Robinson. Right, okay, I'm sorry about this, folks, but... Right, let's see if I can get you on screen, Daniela. No. Daniela? You're not coming up on my audience list, so I need you to request to come on camera with me. Why do I have this trouble every time? Right, brilliant. Thank you, Daniela. Yay, Daniela should be coming on in a minute. What's the time now? It's only taken 25 minutes. Come on, Daniela. What's happening now? And she hasn't come up on screen. I've just accepted her. Daniela, can you send me another request? I don't know why, but you're not coming up on screen. Anyway, today me and Daniela are endeavouring to talk about the evolution of mediumship. As we know, here she comes again. Right. Accept. Right, that's better. That's coming up now. I'll leave one of my chewies. Yeah, Daniela.
Oh my God, I'm sweating.
Yeah, what do you think I've been doing?
What do you
Do you
mean?
know what I mean?
No idea what's going on today. I wonder if so many people are on the internet to watch what's, the coronation, have no idea.
Yeah, I always have this trouble with Facebook. It's just a nightmare.
God.
Anyway,
What a nightmare. Lovely to see you.
Hello, lovely to see you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spirit Divine. I would like to introduce you to the lovely Daniela R. Florio, who's a fine working medium. I've had the pleasure of working with her myself, and today we thought we would talk about the evolution of mediumship because it's something that's very close to both our hearts. And as I was saying earlier, that as I've said to Daniela on live broadcasts, is that mediumship is evolving all the time if we're prepared to be open to it, not only on our on the world level, but on an individual level. Spirit are teaching us about universal law, natural law, how eternal life works, but they're also constantly trying to enhance our own abilities. Okay, so that we can do more. And Spirit have often said to me, and I've said to a lot of people, the more you know, or the more you're aware of, the more you can do. Okay, it's just not about, yes, having a head full of knowledge is good, but increasing your awareness and raising your vibration so these new abilities can be given and you can develop them. Would you agree with that, Daniela? Because I'm going on.
Oh,
Right.
no, I totally agree. And I think that this is a very well-known fact in the medium environment. I think that, while you were talking, actually, Edward Case came to mind, because he had this very broad-minded idea about mediumship, and he kicked open many doors at the time. And the way that he was producing evidential mediumship was actually confirming over and over that with his different type of skills, working with higher vibrations, he was working with seeing, he was seeing auras, he was reading people auras. He was like a multi-talented kind of medium. And he hasn't come to be well known for nothing, but then I suppose when the development started happening in a more structured way, let's say, I think that a few elements, and I'm trying to keep this a bit wide without going too much into details, but, like structuring too much, of something that is in the ether, it probably doesn't work. It's the way we perceive it as human beings.
Yeah, I agree.
But as now, Earth is actually receiving and changing, through the ley lines and the cosmic vibrations, and we are raising the vibration. It's been proven actually by NASA that the vibration around Earth have raised, effectively speaking, so that we accordingly, in order to vibrate, in order to be aligned to it, we need to adapt to it. So we need to go along with it. And it feels that the old-fashioned, great, fabulous mediumship, the principles are very good and great and correct, but we need to start looking at other ways to communicate with spirit, and also how we are giving the messages to spirit. I have been trained by very well-known, fantastic SNU, mediums, but like the way that we need now, so I understand the principles behind that. But I think that we need to actually start working differently with the spirit, and in a way to bring healing, not just proof of, which is one of the elements, proof of the life, because this is what spiritualism is about, is to prove that there is life after. It's not about talking. I was the other night at Horley Spiritualist Church, and there was this beautiful speech about what is spiritualism. And it's true, like people, they don't know much about it. They think that we speak to the dead, and actually it's not about that. It's about conveying messages from the spirits on the other side to prove that there is life, that life does continue. So how do we want to actually upgrade, if you like, or the way we do mediumship, it's by operating via the heart chakra and bringing healing at the same time, as well as hope. And for me, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, sometimes there is some philosophy going with it as well. So I think that, when we do Sunday service and all of that, we do philosophy and then, prayer, philosophy, and then we give the messages. For me, it's more to do with blending all of that.
Yeah.
It's to do when I channel a spirit, I feel I need to give more than just evidence, dates, names, details, remote viewing, what have you. Yeah. I have all of that. We have all of that. I feel that this is what my humble opinion is of what I've seen, of what I feel, and here Spirit wants me to work because, sorry, I don't want to take the whole of the platform here, but I just wanted to put across this point, basically.
Yeah. Do you know what, young Daniela? I totally agree with you. And as you know, I've been around a long time.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I know it shows. But back
Bless you.
back in the day,
Oh,
we were taught. I describe myself as a jack of all trades, a master of none. All right. I sat for general development with a well-known medium at the time, but she taught universal teaching. It wasn't just about proving survival, bringing a loved one through. You could bring an angel or a spirit guide through, which is now frowned upon. You could give people messages from what you saw in their aura, what you sensed in their aura, not only from loved ones, angels and guides, and you used all your senses.
yes.
And you brought the philosophy into it. I think so. I was thinking about this morning whilst I was having my porridge, Daniela. I feel that mediumship has gone backwards compared to what it was in my days.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? I really feel it's gone backwards. Today it's gone backwards because I just feel, without trying to be too controversial, I am quite well known for being controversial, but I feel that the movement is dictating how spirit should communicate, which I think is wrong. All right? They're saying to me, you can only bring this forward and that forward. And I find with the medium today that they're only bringing through one communicator. And they're only sort of like giving evidence from that one communicator. Whereas back in the day, we used to bring several through. And I still do. And your point about bringing philosophy through and teaching with it is a very valid point, not only just for the address side of it, because people have often said to me is that whilst I'm giving a message, I will actually teach whilst I'm giving it, because I'll say something from a loved one or a guide, and I'll say, this is how it works in spirit. Okay, I don't know whether you agree or not, but I think we should be doing more of that. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's so interesting to hear, your experience as well, as you've been for far longer in mediumship than I have. And that totally makes sense, to be honest with you.
I mean, like I say, become a jack of all trades or master of none. I know you're the same, young Daniela, but all I get to ask to do these days is mediumship. Bring evidence. People banging on about evidence of survival. Okay. And I don't know whether you will agree with this or not, but those people who are asking for evidence have had evidence many, many times. And this is where I feel we're falling short. As a spirit guide taught years ago in circles, we used to cover trance as well.
Yeah.
Was that evidence is the first part. It's like the introduction. Once you've had your evidence, then you move on to the journey of growing and understanding and evolving and knowing
Exactly.
more about your
Exactly.
universal self, about your eternal self and how it all works. And this is what I feel should be not necessarily taught, but talks about more, and it should be in it. You know
I,
what I mean?
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but only last week I was of service at the Crowley Spiritualist Church, and there
Yeah,
were a lot of new people and young people, which the people arranging for the event, they were quite surprised with, you know. So what I did, I just thought it was, I'm not talking about experimenting, but I just did what Spirit wanted me to do, talking about going with the flow and what Spirit wants.
yeah,
And, you know, I basically did a small introduction about mediumship. And then when I started giving the actual evidence, after I had given enough evidence with the structure that is required, Spirit was actually wanting to pass on a bit of philosophy to the person, and they could highly resonate to it as well. And
yeah,
the message was about their well-being and their health and the way they were going by life. And, you know, and these people, I mean, 4 people came up, you know, after my demonstration asking for private reading, which, you know, like, I don't hear this happening very often, you know, because people want, because everybody's waking up at the moment.
yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah,
so it's not just how to attract them, but it's how do you retain them?
yeah.
Because there are new needs in the people now, new spiritual
I
needs.
agree, but what I'm saying is, Dania, all this has been going on for years. But we, as a movement, and the expectations of mediumship have changed.
Yeah, that's right.
100, I 100% agree with you. Bring that. I done a service the other week at a church. I'm not going to name the church, but I brought this guy's guide forward, and he was telling him again about his well-being and about
Mm,
how to, you know, advice on how to conduct his life, and also how to reinforce his link with spirit.
mhm.
Okay, the guy took it all and come up and shook hands and everything like that. But I also got told off after the service for bringing a guide through. And me being me, Daniela,
Okay.
I said, well, I don't really care
So
what you think. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive.
yeah,
And if a guide wants to come through, or a fairy, or an alien, or an angel, I will bring them through.
yeah,
As long as they have the recipient's well-being at heart. You got a
yes,
great
that's
fun
right.
there, Daniela. I love your fun. No, I'm joking
So
with you. All
the
right.
button was going down, so I had to plug it in and you know, it's my mobile phone, so I found a good way to keep
Yeah.
it in
Do you know
place.
what I find refreshing, Daniela?
What?
That there's young mediums like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that are coming out and they're getting out there that think the same way as I do. Not only as I do, but think in the old ways. Because,
Oh,
right,
okay.
it is elite, because I feel it would still, bringing all that back,
Mm-hmm.
would still be an evolution, because I think spirit needs to be included more in this.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah. Sorry,
trying to be,
someone is. Oh, Tim is writing. If you look back
yeah,
at the 80s, the emphasis was on improving the communicator. As we moved into the 90s, the focus was on the message from the communicator, and now the emphasis is on the client and their life.
yeah, I'm going to click see more.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I agree. I agree, young Tim. You know, we should communicate. You know, put the communicators. You know, focus on that. But it's also the way we give the message, Tim, isn't it? We don't want to upset the recipient
Yeah.
in any way, because there's a lot of this going on. I keep hearing more and more about mediums or underdeveloped mediums giving graphic details of car accidents and deaths and suicide and things like that, which leave the recipient of the message totally mortified. I think we need to get back into proper development circles, not online open circles, or I can make you a medium in 6 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever. I think that is so wrong.
See, I find personally, although I was doing trans mediumship just almost naturally when I actually joined SAGB back in 2008, 2009, and I find that when spirit operates through us, okay, they want to bring through the true nature of what they are. And which is also in itself a proof of what they were like in reality. It wasn't just all the details that were given, okay? I find also that, we need to start providing people with the healing support through the reading as well. So to me, I have not a client in front of me. I have a human being that needs compassion, needs unconditional love, needs honest but safe and secure guidance. Okay. It doesn't matter if I say to the reader the way their loved one died, because I can say 1 million other things. Okay, and I could
talk about their life.
I could say they suffered with a heart condition, but if the way they died brought up so much pain, is it necessary?
No, it's wrong. All just for evidence. I agree that's wrong, and I 110 million% agree with you that healing should be brought through the reading in whichever words spirit give you to say, because to me, a lot of people who come for readings or come to demonstrations or whatever need healing in some form, and that can be in the spoken word of what you say from spirit. Okay.
Absolutely. And sometimes
and the vibration of healing can come through in the spoken word. The energy of healing can come through your heart. Allow yourself to be a channel for that healing.
Isn't that beautiful when that happens? When that happens, it's like so powerful within me, and I start getting all of these goosebumps, and I feel spirit, being so well blended with my energy, that it's beautiful to be able to transmit exactly, what the recipient needs to know. Because one of the reasons why they come for a reading is because they need reassurance or something is going on in their life, and sometimes some people, they are not very experienced. They may think, oh, that's being psychic instead of medium, but they are completely different things. And you can give details of chakras and auras and all of that through the way spirit sees us, because we don't know how spirit is seeing us. I can say how you look like, but what do we know what spirit we look like?
I think I can answer that, because way back in circle, as we know, spirit are energy and colour.
Yes.
The energy and the vibration of that energy creates the colour. Yeah, they don't see me as a 63-year-old, short-haired, grey-haired old man, and you as I think it's blonde, right? I don't know, a blonde-haired young woman, right? They see you as colour, as energy. Okay, and we all have a recognition colour in spirit.
Correct.
Okay,
right.
So they don't recognise me and you as you. they recognise you by your recognition colour. Now,
the body
you
of
could,
energy. Yes.
yeah, that's right, but it's not, you know, because green's greens, blue's blues, but it's the shade and the vibration of that colour, which is you, which is
Correct.
unique to you, and that's how they recognise us.
And I'll tell you more that sometimes, not all the times, probably when spirit thinks is appropriate, because I'm clairvoyant as well. You know, I actually the spirit is showing me the colors around the person, and
Yeah,
I know I can do the same psychically as well, and I can tell the difference
yeah,
between the two things. You
yeah.
know.
I just think there's a lot of hoo-ha about whether you're working psychic or mediumistically. To me, Daniel, I don't know whether you'll agree with this, but to me, psychic is an energy,
Mhm.
the energy that we call psychic that allows communication to take place. I think it's a universal energy. And with any mediumship message, there's always some psychic in it.
I know,
You
I
know,
know.
or
This
to
is what we.
facilitate a message to take place. Spirit uses psychic energy to get, bring forward whatever they need to.
It's just that psychic and medium have got different vibrations, if you like.
Yeah,
And what I've learned through my training is that everybody can be a psychic, but not everyone can be a medium, right?
that's
It's
right.
because they work at different levels, somewhat. Okay, it's more of a brain vibration rather than a mental vibration in mediumship.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it
Well,
mental.
what I was led to understood in my teaching years ago, and spirit guides have said this, is that we all have these abilities, but just in varying levels.
Of course.
Just in varying levels. Some are more psychic, some are more
Mm.
mediumistic. But you can't have mediumship without psychic. This is what I'm saying.
No, and
No,
this is exactly what I work with my classes. And when I was teaching, I had, my own circle, which I stopped actually in January because there are other things and other projects that I'm currently working on that I will be announcing quite soon. But this is it. I mean, as for me, as a teacher, all right, I am a mainstream schools teacher, but I am also a spiritual teacher. And what I am called as my path, spiritual path, I am being called to bring up to speed people psychically, to start using their gut feeling and their intuition, because then they are able to move on, if that's what they're meant to do, to go on to mediumship. But that's not a requirement. But going forward, a lot of people will start learning to go much more through their gut feeling and the knowing, okay?
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is where, and I know that a lot of SNU people will be getting green hair, but this is what they were talking about. This is what used to happen, for instance, if one believes in the Pleiadians, for instance, where people used to come to communicate mind to mind. And we basically, these rays of energy and the evolution is exactly in that. It's where we actually, everyone is being asked to start using more of their gut feeling. Let's not forget about the various portal opening that we've been having in the past few years for the heart chakra opening, where we're being asked, to be more human in a sense, and to diversify the human race from beasts. Okay, and I'm not saying that everyone will become a saint. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm saying that people that will not be able to, come up to speed, then they will be suffering more of the density of the 3D. So with illness, physical illness, and all of that. And I know this sounds a bit far-fetched, but this is my personal philosophy of what I've been developing through time, because I have been seeing spirits since I was a child, but effectively I started training trance mediumship since, 15 years ago now, and then on and off, and then I've come back big time because spirit is kicking me big time, to bring forward the work. So
Yeah, you keep going.
yes. I mean, this is what, and spirit is very strong about that, very assertive about the job that I am being asked to do now, to bring up to speed the new generations, not just the young people, but the older one, that start having an awakening to spirit.
Yeah.
And they start coming closer. And the crystal therapy, for instance, which is something I do, it's a way for them to come close to that and start working. So it's a tool to start working with their intuition. So everybody can be psychic, but not everyone can be a medium. And we are so important to keep, passing on those messages that life goes beyond the physical, body, death, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that, and I'm often telling my students, because I run a little circle myself, that the art of spirit communication is listening, but not just with your mind or your brain or your ear rolls or your eyes, whatever the clear, them clear senses, but to listen with your whole self, your intuition, your heart. Okay, because whilst spirit are putting an image in your mind and an energy in your mind, they're also giving it through your heart and your intuition, which you can add on to the message as well. You know what I mean? And with trance, you deal very much with energy and vibration.
Yeah.
I'll just call it vibration because it's all the same thing. But you get a deeper understanding as you develop trance, and as you're working with your spirit team for trance, you get a far greater understanding of vibration, for want of a better word of it, higher, lower vibrations, subtle levels, stuff like that. And this is why I always say anybody who wants to develop mediumship should have a grounding in healing, because
very good point.
with healing,
Very good point.
Yeah, because you encounter all levels, all vibrations with healing.
Absolutely.
I remember once, and I know you'll agree with this with me, Daniela, and I've said this many times. We're not mediums just to look good on a stage or a platform or whatever, to show people how evidential we are and how amazing we are. It's an act of service to spirit,
Absolutely.
right? It's an act of love to spirit, and they love us for facilitating that. But it's about giving upliftment. Now, I remember a time at Slough Spiritualist Church a few years ago now, where I was bringing through this communicator that was particularly horrible to the lady I was giving the message to. So I don't want to talk to him. All the rest of it, he was horrible and everything like that. I won't forgive him, blah, 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 blah. And then to my left, 3 angels appeared. And then from the middle angel, a big gold ball of light come from them. I actually stepped back out of the way. It was that physical. I actually stepped out of the way to allow it to go by me, and it hit this woman full in the chest, and she burst into tears. And the angel told me it was to help her to open her heart and to find forgiveness.
There you go. How beautiful.
Yeah, because the gentleman needed her to forgive so that he could move on to a higher energy, to a higher vibration. So yes, it's about bringing upliftment. It's not looking about. It's not. Yeah, and I think getting back to my previous point, we've moved backwards, not forwards. And I'm really pleased that there are young new mediums like you bringing all this forward, bringing all this in. So you keep going, young lady.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you that as I do talk across the pond as well with the American counterparts quite a bit, and we kind of come to agree somewhat that, in order to provide the new type of mediumship, if you like, you need to unify the mind, with the heart.
Yes.
And what the Americans perceive of the British mediumship, hence they come over, it's that it's that with mental mediumship, but they feel that they put the heart into it.
No,
They
it should do,
bring the
yeah.
healing. They bring the healing. So I think this is what we are perceiving at the moment with people of the likes of you and I, that what we are thinking that needs to happen is exactly the type of work you've just described that you have carried on doing through the years. You know, you have not abandoned that wonderful practice of healing through mediumship.
Yeah, I can only go on the way I was taught. I am the sum of my teaching and my practice of that teaching.
Right.
But what I want to say to you, we was being taught this years ago, and it very much needs to be put out there again, is that spirit can only communicate through a sincere and open heart.
Yes.
It's not how clever you are mentally or how good your attunement is. Without that heart, you're not really fully attuned, are you? And it's about, anybody that wants to develop in any way, whichever form of spiritual service they develop or they land up developing, is that the requirement is from spirit is that you have a loving, kind, compassionate and open heart.
Right. Correct.
And that, right, without that, they can't really develop you fully.
And I can say to you that I have seen on platforms mediums that are fantastic mediums, but they don't come from the heart.
That's it, yeah. I think you
and
have
you
to
can
have...
just feel it, see it, understand it. Wonderful evidence, wonderful, but there is not healing. They don't bring the actual, message of philosophy to the person that is so desperate that they thought they had at the time when their loved one was alive, and their life got upside down since they lost the beloved one, and therefore they need to find a new meaning of life, a new direction of life.
Absolutely.
And this is where the loved one comes in to provide that loving support, as if they were still in their body here. But what they can do, what they can bring back, is the essence of what they used to be for their loved one here, what they represented. And this is what I want to transmit when I do the readings now. This is what Spirit is asking me.
Yeah, you do that, all right, because that's very important.
Yes.
All right, that is very, very important. You do that. I don't know about you, Daniela, but sometimes, as the service goes on, as the demonstration go on, I take on the personality of the demonstrators, because we've opened to trance and all the rest of it. They can get that much deeper into our aura.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then we start to take on the personality, and the amount of times people said to me, my dad used to say it just like that, or he used to walk around, or he used to sit there like this, or he would scratch his head just the way you did, or whatever. Yeah. And because we've opened for trance, they can stand that much deeper into our aura. And
that's right.
Yes, it is about bringing that upliftment and very much the healing, because that upliftment comes from the healing. I have a little memory. The first time I took my Veronica to a spiritualist church to watch me demonstrate, I was panicking because I was really worried about it. I really wanted it to be a good night, and I went off into the medium's room to meditate, and she's sitting outside, and there's these two women talking, all right, about their father that had just passed away a couple of weeks before. Later on in the service, father came through. All right. And Veronica was shocked because what they were talking about outside, the father was reiterating, was saying it, but I was getting the emotion of the dad. He was so pleased and happy to be come through. He was tearful. So I'm getting all that joyful emotion from him. And the two ladies were sort of like bawling their eyes out because they couldn't believe
Yeah.
that their dad was communicating with them. And, you know, and I think it's a beautiful thing, Daniela, because you're there and you're getting the emotion from the spirit communicator, but you're also getting the emotion
Yeah.
from the recipients. But only an open, kind, loving, compassionate heart can accommodate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
And just
very
when you
well.
feel, yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's all very well going up and sort of saying, you know, giving people's phone numbers and actual birth dates and full names. Yes, very evidential, bloody lovely. But that person who you're giving all that beautiful information to may well actually be grieving deeply and thinking of suicide.
Yes.
Do we think about it that way?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I want to commit suicide so I can be with my loved one. You know what I mean? And spirit always want us to live a full and happy life. I always say this, that, you know, that those that communicate, you know, especially loved ones, they want their loved ones on earth to lead as full as a happy life as possible, because life is for living.
That's right.
Life on this planet is a gift.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If we're moping around crying our eyes out all the time, we're not living life.
No.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you more about which has just come to mind regarding the ascension and the higher vibrations that we are currently experiencing here on Earth. You know, last night was a full moon and partial eclipse and all of that, and you know, like we all barely sleep a couple of hours at night. But what's happening is that what they want is not someone that sometimes when the sitter, they want to know what to do. And in reality, the answer is not, well, sell the house and settle somewhere else in France.
Yeah.
It's to do with telling them in a very skilled way, the only way spirit can do, you know, to work it out themselves, the way they need to go through the motions and clear the blockages that they have inside, because
100%.
evolution is this evolution. It's not giving, yeah, I know you're selling the house, good. And then this person, you know, knows, has the confirmation that, yeah, the house is theirs and now they're being sold and they're moving on, but they want to know so much more. And spirit is there to provide, you know, the key to understanding what it's best for them, because sometimes when they want you to tell them what to do, it's because they don't want to take the responsibility, or they are scared to make a decision, which sometimes can be the good one for them, but they need to leave the old behind. And all of this can actually, and this has happened to my mediumship, that spirit has not given a straightforward answer, but is actually gave food for thought. And the people were still crying because they thought, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that we can discuss from that point that you just make. You know what I mean? I mean, I've met many people, given many messages, and I've met a lot of people, you know, spirit bring through, you know, why don't you try this, why don't you try that, because spirit respects our free will.
Sure.
Okay. And they will come up with an I can't reason every time. You know what I mean? You have to say, well, if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to remove these blockages by doing this, that, and the other, all right, or, you know, or changing your life in certain ways so that things will improve for you.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to make the effort, because, you know, as spirit always teaches that we have free will. Spirit will only give advice, you know, but people seem to think that, you know, spirit's going to do everything for them, but they can create the energy, that they can point the way.
Yes.
Okay, but if we're not doing it, if we're not working towards that which we would like, or whatever dream we've got, then spirit can't do nothing. You know what I mean? We have to meet spirit halfway.
That's right, yes. And which makes the whole difference between having had the personal life and having discussions or trying to, decide what to do from when that person is in spirit. And it comes back with a completely different perspective because obviously they see things from a higher vibration.
Do you think that we should be more, not just proving life after death, but we should be, I'm trying to find the right words for this, Daniela, but I've often said, we should give more space for the teachings of eternal life and how it all works on here on earth with us personally,
Yes.
but not only us individually, but collectively as a human race as well. Like you say, ascending to the energies. Those energies have always been there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and like I say, I've been sort of like a spiritualist 45 years, demonstrating for 40, but those energies are there, but we're not raising ourselves as a whole to them. The Spirit are giving us teachings now in modern show business spiritualism. All that's been shoved out of the way. You know what I mean? So we need to bring that back. This is just my point of view.
No,
Not many will agree with me. I hope you do, Daniela. But
I do
yeah,
totally.
but we should be bringing all this in. Okay.
Yes, definitely. And I know that there are other mediums that I know of that we are on the same wavelength, and there are many of us. And you see, this is this is something that you will see coming forward with me in the next few months. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull together. I'm going to start pulling together in this program a lot of mediums that are the new type of mediumship, that they want to bring forward a new type of mediumship to try and get the crowds to actually understand mediumship, from a completely different perspective. But there is a lot still to do with mediumship, with being scared to talk with the dead, or coming from excuse me, Catholic or religious country where you're not really allowed to speak to the dead.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they really don't understand the message that actually mediumship wants, spiritualism, wants to forward, which is life after death.
Yes, spiritualism is all about life.
It's not all about life, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all about life. All right, whether you're in spirit or you're here, or you're an alien on another planet, or whatever, or you're a blade of grass.
And this is not clear to the masses, really.
Yeah, I like what you're doing, Daniel. I really do. What was I going to say? Somebody asked me a question a year or two ago. Why are you bothering the dead? I said they're not dead. They're more alive than we are.
To be honest,
and I said, if they didn't want to talk, we wouldn't know they were there. So I said, it's more like they're bothering me.
Yes.
Because they want to talk, they want to communicate, because they could see that channel there that can be used.
Exactly. You know, they came to me. I didn't go to them. That's for sure.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
If I knew that I was going to have to speak to them, I would have run the opposite direction. But it's just started happening. They just started coming to me.
Yeah, you came into spiritualism for the same reasons as me, because I needed answers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why am I experiencing all this stuff? You know what I mean? And spiritualism, because back in the day, there was a hell of a lot more teaching and knowledge.
You know, back in 2003 even, I was in New York, and a friend of mine was, he said, look, I'm doing a Reiki course. Can I give you a healing? And we were in this hotel room off Fifth Avenue. And I said, okay, all right, go on. I had no idea what Reiki was at the time even. So he gives me Reiki, and suddenly I have my godfather coming through. He had died only 2 months earlier. and he gave me some very detailed messages. And I was so spooked out. And I said, what did he do to me? And he said, well, I said, I had my and he gave me messages. And then when I passed the message on to Auntie, she said, oh my God, I know exactly what he's saying, because they had a project going on and he gave her details of keys and stuff. And I had never spoken to spirit. I had never trained as a medium. It just happened. So I was so spooked, because I just thought, like, what's been happening? And it just was in me. They just, as you said just a moment ago, we are channels, and when spirit sees that light in us, they just come through. We don't look for them, they look for us.
That's right. Yeah. But
because they can do it.
In my teaching, if we're doing healing, we just focus on healing. To me, I know many will disagree with me, but I think Reiki is very psychic. I really, really do. That's why they give him messages.
Oh, but I never used. I've never been messages with Reiki.
No, if you're doing Reiki, if you're doing healing in whichever form you're doing it, you just suggest do healing. This is to my mind. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be bringing, because it's taking energy out of the healing.
What? The Reiki? No.
Yeah, Reiki is very psychic. That's why you get communication. You know what I mean?
Never thought of that before. I'm just a channel, and I just sense.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
I thought of that like that before, of Reiki, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to me, if I'm giving healing, that's what I'm giving. That's what I'm channeling. I don't bring messages through with it.
No,
all right?
exactly.
We was told to focus on what we were doing. If I'm giving messages, I'm giving messages, but also allowing that healing energy to come through.
Okay, that's so interesting, because, to me, for so many years when I trained and then I became a Reiki master, for me, people, I could, give like 5, 6, 7 treatments in one go. And people were saying, aren't you tired? And I felt like I'm not, because it's not my energy.
Yeah.
I'm just channeling from spirit, and I'm just a medium, like a body, basically. The energy uses to clear and give, take away, if you like. Actually, we don't take the negative energy or what have you. We just clear it, but just we give through the hands, in the heat of the hands, and that's all channeled through spirit. So the thing that is just something completely new to me as an interpretation, that you are psychic, because I do have spirit all around me now. Yeah. So for me, nothing is about being psychic, but I can appreciate where you're coming from, and I can see that. And probably if you're not trained medium, I think that's what could happen, effectively speaking.
What I'm saying is that psychic is in everything. We can't have communication without it. But to me, Reiki is a psychic healing energy.
Okay,
it's on that sort of level. All right. Okay. I've been healing for 45 years. The first time I was taken in trance, not asked, but taken in trance, my spirit guide Zangu came through me and gave healing. Now, I've been doing that on and off for 45 years. And I don't consider myself a master. All right. And I'll never charge for it. Okay. But you're dead right, is that we are the conduit for it. Okay. I think, and your earlier point about perception, I think it's how we perceive things. There's a lot of people that, whether it be Reiki healers or anybody else, that are using any form they can to have to be mediumship. You know what I mean? So, it's like I've seen a few people that have done their 3 attunements through Reiki, and all of a sudden they're saying they're mediums. Whereas I've been a practicing medium for 40 years, and I'm still learning how to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
I'll tell you one thing.
I sat for development for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't do three achievements. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. For me, I mean, the principle behind it, that Reiki is not to give to others. Reiki was for yourself. So this is
Yeah,
Reiki is effectively for self-healing, not to give to others. You see, that was not in
yeah,
the
because it's
philosophy
chi
of
energy,
Reiki.
isn't it? It's
It's
about tapping into your own chi energy.
so what happens is that through the attunements, actually, you get activated to start a journey of learning and healing at the same time. So, so nobody does like 3 years back to back of Reiki and attunement. That's not how it works. Some people never get to master, and it doesn't mean you graduated. It just means that you probably gone through more shit, if I can say, than, or you healed, or I don't know what it is. But there are so many things that you learn through mediumship, and the teacher that gives you the attunement checks with your guides if you're ready for that, if you're ready to take the next challenge and steps. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is how I come down on the 4th generation of Usui teacher. So my teacher learned from one of the direct students of Usui at the time. She was an very old lady. But that's what I'm saying. This is the philosophy behind it. This is what I have learned, basically, So, and that's also fine. I think at the end of the day, as long as we give healing and help others, this is what we are here for.
Yeah, it
At
doesn't
the
matter
end of
what
the day.
form it comes in, as long as it's done with the best intentions and for the greater good. What I
Correct.
would suggest to you is, Daniela, if your guides want to work with you in that way, work on trance healing.
Yeah.
Okay, because you said you've opened up for trance.
Yes.
Because to me, it works on so many more levels than Reiki. And but I will say that Reiki, it's chi energy, and your, like you say, your own internal energy. Um, it can open you up on
Yeah.
different levels,
Yeah. Definitely.
such as mediumship. You know what I mean? Um,
When I had the attunement for Reiki too, I just cried for about an hour and a half. I couldn't stop. Something was triggered inside of me with the attunement that I just like emptied out all of whatever needed to be
yeah,
released. You
and
see?
that Reiki, that kind of Reiki, that kind of energy is great for that.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? But it also can be done through spiritual healing because it's far higher. That's
Yes.
just my opinion. I know many will disagree with me, but it's just my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and it's all about whatever we do, isn't it? Whatever we do, whichever way we practice, it's about bringing upliftment. It's about bringing teachings to help people to improve their lives, not only on a material level, but their awareness and their understanding of life. And I'm not just talking about the 80 years we live or how many years we
Yeah,
live, but our eternal selves. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also like I think from my perspective, as of being of service, I get out so much out of it because it makes me feel so grateful. It makes me feel like so grounded. That I've been called for such a cause, really.
Yeah,
And, when people say, they come up to me and they say, thank you so much. There was a wonderful message, or, you really brought me upliftment and I can smile again. That my job is done. You know,
exactly. And that's the way I see it, Daniela. I really do.
my job is done. That's that. There isn't much more to say
You
about it.
know, if somebody says to me, I feel more at peace or I feel more content or whichever way they
Yeah,
feel uplifted in whichever way. Job done. Spirit's done their job through me. And
exactly.
that's it. The way I work, Daniela, and this is from teaching from Spirit Guide Lee years ago,
Mhm.
was that you only need to give evidence just enough so that the person receiving the messages knows who's talking to them.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say, all right, I've got Grandad here, and he smoked a pipe, and he liked to play football every Sunday afternoon. That's enough evidence. And then you get, on to the message from Grandad, what he wants to say.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I mean?
sometimes I feel that it really depends what sort of time you have at hand as well. So if you want it to be a shorter message, a couple of details like that will surface. Sometimes if you want to give even more details, it will make the people fond of old memories that they thought they'd forgotten, and Spirit is able to bring back. And that's upliftment, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the general way I work, but Spirit can see the larger picture that we can't. Sometimes it's like I was saying earlier, evidence is the first part of the journey. So some people will need evidence. Spirit know that, so they'll put loads of evidence through you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just get that like that, knowing that I should be giving that evidence from them. Other people, I'll say, right, Grandad's here, blah 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 blah, and they're saying, yeah, and carry on like that. Spirit, we've got to be aware that Spirit can see the larger picture that we can't. And whatever's coming through you is need. Spirit will always talk, will always go to the need.
Yeah.
Whatever is needed. Not necessarily what we want, but what they see is needed. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you.
And as mediums, we have to be able to work in that way. We have to be flexible to work in that way. And like I said earlier, that we're censoring Spirit as to what they can say and what they can do. Mediums are telling Spirit how they want them to work through them.
I feel
rather than going with the flow and the development of it all and the evolution of it all.
That's right. I think that that's what's happening at the moment with the current requirements from the church, if you like, from the organization, the SNU in particular, that they've put so many boundaries, cannot, and all of that, can't and cannot. That actually it becomes almost, if you like, a fine, almost, a fine scientific, proof of life, if you like. It can almost be proved scientifically, if the ring is sitting on the bedside table and it's got a ruby on it and it's been given by grandmother, then, that's what it is all about. To me, there is much more to that. There is much more to that. For what you worried about, your beloved ones, about your own life, your own choices, your own difficulties. And I feel this is what people want.
Oh, great.
Because I think the moment they've stepped into a spiritualist church, they already believe, or they want to believe, that there is life beyond. So once we've given some details and then this is when we need to open up, unlock their hearts and transmit that philosophy, because I strongly believe that mediumship should be more philosophy as well.
100%.
They shouldn't be, I mean, it's okay to separate them, and I can see the point, and it's food for thought. But if you could do a little bit of your mediumship reading into that philosophy for the person, but not, you don't do it. It's Spirit gives it to you. And to be honest with you, I've started doing it anyways, because that's the way Spirit wants me to work.
I think that's the only way to do it, is just do it. You know what I mean?
I'm just doing it, and it comes from the heart. And sometimes Spirit comes so close that it's, I don't go in trance, but I am aware that Spirit is working through my body to the point that the level of clarity is such that I can actually give what that the Spirit can give to the receiver exactly what they need. And it takes a body of its own. It takes like a meaning, a significance of its own. So it's not just that ruby ring and the date of birth and the holiday they've taken and they are about to take.
Yeah, yeah, and they fell off the diving board, really. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd love to do a platform with you and in person. I think the energy would be amazing. But
Yes, yeah, I can feel that. I can feel the connection. Yes.
yeah, I just, if that could ever come about, because I just look on spiritual development and the way we work as a journey of evolution. It's all evolution, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, and we have to be prepared to take that journey, to be guided on that journey,
Yeah.
to work in whichever way, because spirit will always work for the greatest and highest good, won't they?
Absolutely. Always.
Not only for the
Absolutely.
recipients, but for us as channels, because they know what they want to do with us, and they know in the future what they'd like to do
And
with us.
you know what? That forces us to be the first at the forefront.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
to because we cannot lead the evolution and teach and put forward to who needs it if we haven't been there before. So when I say I operate often from the fourth and fifth dimension, people think that I'm speaking Chinese, but truth of the matter is that I am able in my own life to see things from a different perspective. And sometimes I do have some drops into 3D, and ouch, it hurts
yeah,
because I
yeah.
cannot see outside the situation. But most of the times I'm traveling 4 to 5 because I am just so aligned to spirit and spiritually speaking that I'm not just a spiritualist because I'm a medium.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
that means far, far more.
Oh, 100%.
It's when they
100%.
say, when they say it's a way of life, this is me.
Yeah, 100%, young lady, 100%. I can't agree with you more. Believe it or not, Daniela, we would have my teacher, Berenice, back in 1979, talking about the fifth dimension, about raising our vibration to it and everything like that. So, yeah, I just think, as you know, with evolution, it can be very progressive, but can also take backward steps. And I just feel with the whole movement as a whole that we've taken a backward steps. You know what I mean? And we need to bring this awareness in.
Yes and no. In the past year and a half, a lot of people have been bashed a lot with all sorts of troubles, and believe it or not, they don't see a lesson in that, but effectively speaking, they can raise above, and they are part of that evolution for a reason. Because once they get over that horrible time, things will feel much lighter. And once you've been bashed once, twice, 3 times, then you think the 4th time you say, oh, I'm not going there again. Oh, no, I learned the lesson. That's fine. It will sort itself out. And automatically you're already on 4D. You have changed timeline, because this is what it's about. It's about changing timelines.
Yeah, and I think that is at the heart of spirit teaching.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I really think that's at the heart. Spirit will teach us that anything in life that is given to us, whether we've created it ourselves or it's lumped on us or whatever, that we should step on the back foot and say to ourselves, what am I really learning from this?
Yeah.
And how many times have I seen on Facebook, life won't change until we realise the lesson. That same lesson will keep coming back until we learn it.
Absolutely.
This is very simple spirit teaching.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
yes.
I'm always saying, and I know that you're, from our conversation, Danielle, I know that you're saying it too, and it's just gone completely out of my head. What an idiot. But we should be making people more aware.
Yeah. And I'm all up for it. I'm all up for it. And you will see me working on this in the coming months.
I really hope to. I really hope to. And you keep up the good work. I've been endeavouring to work in that way for years. But I think let's not call it the old way of mediumship. Let's just call it the way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, it's not an old way or a new way. It's just the way.
No, no, no.
Yeah, because
Well,
I just think it's been spirit have been communicating since time immemorial, haven't they? And
mhm,
those that could, because in circle it's like we would talk about higher guides, we would talk about um, energies that control our universe and things like that. Why things happen on an Earth level. For the progression of the human race and everything like that, the collective progression of the human race, But if we can reach out, this is teaching. I won't call it old teaching, but
mhm,
back in the day, we was taught to, put into our spiritual practice these teachings. So even on an individual level, we can raise the consciousness of the human race. On a
of course.
circle level, a circle is sort of like a mini, sort of like microcog of the universe.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
the more that circle can progress and raise its energy, it becomes a functioning part of the universe for the
Absolutely.
greater good. We could
Absolutely.
do that individually and together. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
I'm really enjoying talking to you, young lady,
Yeah,
because I
me
haven't talked like
too.
this way for a long time. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Really loved it. And
me too.
I get so excited when I get to know a medium, and the more you talk and the more you find out that there are so many common points of agreement in the way that the healing and our service should be like. And I absolutely agree. If there will be people that don't agree, and that's also fine.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, there's going to be people who don't agree because there's just people that see it as show business. You know what I mean?
whatever the
Or
reason,
they,
you see.
or in whatever way, my guys have just reminded me. My guys just stepped in and said, or they just don't want to progress from where they are because they're just totally comfortable. Remove that comment, all right? Um, you know, but people just don't want to progress from beyond where they are for whatever reason. You
No,
know
no,
what I
they
mean?
don't. They don't. And my guide is stepping in as well.
Brilliant.
We call them in
Yeah,
now.
brilliant.
And
They'll be running
he's
now.
saying that a lot of that is to do with structure and fear.
Yeah, 100%. I'll agree with
And
that.
yes, and and the spirit is saying, actually, we as a collective, as awakened in evolution, with our evolution in progress, there will be more and more of us until the others will have to blend, together with the rest. While at the moment, Spirit is saying it's a smaller minority. It will be like a snowball, and little by little, it will just, be absorbed, and it will just. But Spirit is saying it's not going to happen overnight, but we are planting the seeds. This is what Spirit, my guide, is saying. We are planting the seeds, and we are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your spirit guide.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
You
agree,
know,
I agree with all what your guys just said. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it is very much about planting the seeds.
yes,
You
yeah,
know what I
right.
mean? It's I'm going to invite you on again if that's all right with you. We'll have another chat another time. All right,
Yeah,
probably next
absolutely.
month if you're not busy. Um,
Yeah, it's fine.
and yeah, it's about planting the seeds. It's
Mm,
about being there for when people want to ask more questions as
right,
well. And
right.
yes, bringing the teaching in as part of your mediumship is very, very important.
Yes,
And you said
definitely.
you want to work with other mediums that, are working the same way as you. Please
Mm,
include me in that. All right.
definitely,
All right.
definitely, definitely.
And
Most
yeah, I think with all of us singing from the same hymn sheet with spirit,
Yeah,
I think that could be quite powerful and it could help change things.
absolutely. And it will.
Yeah, because years ago when I started, it because I was a young medium. You know, I had black hair and sleep in them days. But, you know what I mean? And I was slimmer, yeah. But, yeah, back in them days, it was very much with all what we discussed, but to bring a newer kind of mediumship in. You know what I mean? And I don't know what that was, and I still don't, but it's along with all what we've been saying, and that young people can actually be mediums as well.
Yes.
You know, because remember when I started, people were saying he's too young to know anything. And you mentioned young people, you know what I mean? And
You'll be
I
surprised
agree with that.
sometimes
I
when
agree with that. Young people, I mean, I was 17, 18, went on a platform when I was 23. Yes, young people can be mediums,
of
can be
course.
healers or whatever. We shouldn't sort of think. One lady at the Psychic Supper said to the president of the church, he's too young to supervise us, because I was only 23 at the time. And do you know what the president said? Tony Townley, he said, how old is the age and the wisdom of his spirit then? You know, I
Yes,
shut her up, and we got on, and we all had a nice psychic supper.
absolutely.
But Spirit told me that I was brought in young so that young people could understand me, so I could
There you go. You are at the
resonate. So
forefront.
now I'm a little old man, but I still like to keep that young mind. You know, so that
Absolutely.
when I've got young people sitting on a platform or on a Zoom or wherever we do it, that I can communicate to them in a way they understand.
That's
That
exactly what
that
I've been called to do.
and that is yeah, brilliant. And that is the art of
Yeah,
mediumship, right? We are universal communicators. You're fully aware of that,
yeah,
and is to be able to communicate at all levels of understanding.
absolutely. And which is something
Yeah,
that
so it's not just
I do. I
you know,
just do
you have
because
all of the
I've been from primary schools to secondary schools, and I understand really well how, to convey messages to all of them. And I'll tell you more. For a number of months, I worked as a crystal therapist in a new age shop locally, and the amount of people wanting to know about their intuitive abilities, the love for crystals. What do you think that is for? That didn't used to be about 10 years
because
ago.
those youngsters are going to take over from us.
Exactly.
You know,
So, and
um,
they were asking me questions, and then I was there standing by the till, like while, my colleague was like, doing her job, and I was answering questions. And that for me, that was a service, because I was opening up the mind of those 18, 19, 22, 23, and so on,
yeah,
and they kept coming back
yeah,
for more, hungry of
yeah, yeah,
knowledge.
yeah,
How about
yeah.
that?
They are, but also sort of like the older generation are looking more for that as well. Maybe not so much, but they are. But one of the best things I ever learned from Spirit, because in Circle, Spirit Guide Lee used to come through Ian, and he would do a little talk, and we could question him on it. And that's why I do trance sessions
Yeah.
for Q&A with guides. And is that the best tool in spiritual development is an open mind.
That's right.
So the
Absolutely.
more we can
And
open minds, the better. And
that's
just
what, yeah,
don't
exactly.
think, and your guide mentioned structure. I think mediumship is being structured in a certain way these days, don't you think? That it's ruling out, all the different ways that spirit can work through us.
Mm.
I know talking about, using the five clairs,
Mm.
we knew of the five clairs years ago, but we didn't place the importance on it that they do today, and it's about listening with your whole self,
Yeah.
and not just say, oh, look, I'm using all the five clairs, I'm not clever, you know what I mean? But, it's very much a field of development, and I'm going on. I'm going to shut up. If you want to say something, please say something. Right.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just a bit aware of the time because I've got some neighbors coming for lunch at 2:00.
Yeah, what is the
Um,
time? Because I can't see the time.
oh, it's a 1:45.
Right, we've been going on quite some time. So
Yeah.
what I suggest we do is wrap it up so that you can prepare a beautiful lunch for your neighbours. I can have my lunch with my lady wife.
Lovely.
And yeah, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today, young lady.
Likewise. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Likewise.
I just think it's brilliant that old and new mediums think very much in alike, and that you are actually working along the evolutionary process with your spirit team. That's been brilliant. That's
And
brilliant.
humanity needs both of us. That's the truth.
Yeah, yeah, and all our mates that that are going the same way. Yeah, God bless you. I'm going to say thank you very much, young lady. I'll give you a shout for another live. I think we'll do it on Zoom. All
Lovely.
right.
Yes. Yes.
I want to thank all 6-7 people that have joined us. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank
Even if it's
you.
one person, Daniela, we're sowing the seeds, aren't we?
Fine.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. God bless you all. Take
God
care.
bless you.
Have
Take
a lovely
care
coronation day. You all take care. God
to
bless.
all of
Bye-bye.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.